All right, everybody, you got a brand new Green with Envy off-season podcast. So you know what that means. There's lists out there, so let's rank them. Let's talk about them. Top 10 players for the Eastern Conference going into the 2025 season. We're going to give you our thoughts on that. There's another mock trade out there with Anthony Simons. If he's ever going to play a game with the Celtics, we'll see. Maybe he will, maybe he won't. We'll talk about the mock trade that's out there, as well as Alex, the producer of the Green with Envy podcast. He's going to jump in here and we're going to do some trivia for you because once again, it is an off-season podcast. This is Green with Envy. You guys know the deal. Let's lock in. Ooh, what up, what up, what up? Welcome into another edition of Green with Envy. As always, it's your boy Will. We're checking in. How you doing? How you living? Joining me as he does each and every time, my best friend, co-host, and the coach of our podcast, the one and only Greg Menankis. Greg, saw you in person yesterday. Good to see you yesterday. Good to see you today.
What's up, my man? What's up? At the end of our hangout session yesterday, I told you that you asked me like, what did I get into this weekend? And I told you I had something to tell you on the pod. Do you want to do that right now or do you want to save that to the end?
Can we do it in 5 minutes or should we save it for the end?
We could probably do it in 5 minutes.
Okay, our 5 is usually about an 8 minutes, so let's see where this goes. I actually introed you purposefully that way because I wanted to spark that memory because my wife has been asking me, she's like, what the hell? I want to know, like what was it that Greg was like gonna save it for the podcast? I was like, I don't know.
Here's the thing. I would have, if it had come up earlier, if you had asked me how my weekend was before, it was just like I was about to leave, so I was like, this is probably gonna take a little bit too long. It's not like that juicy or anything, but on Friday,
I'll tell you what, let's put 6 minutes on the clock. Let's go for it, and then we'll get into everything else.
Okay. On Friday, my babysitter, who is a former coworker of mine and has become a friend, she hit me up and she was asking me if Danielle, because she's a mom and she deserves nice things, wanted to take a spa day that she had already paid for but couldn't go and she couldn't get a refund on. So she was like, hey, like at 4:30, if Danielle wants, there's an 80-minute massage and a 60-minute facial available for her if she wants it. So I hit up Danielle. She doesn't like massages, but she loves going to like the spa, whatever.
Is it the other people touching you thing, or because most people enjoy massages, but I could see the uncomfortability.
The whole point of a massage is to relax, right? And for her, she's just like worried that they're accidentally going to get too close to some parts that she doesn't want them to go too close to, or like her boob's going to pop out, or
so she's not going to get massages with Bob Kraft, is what you're saying.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. She is not hitting up like the Asian spa here. So it's like a really nice place. It was called Spavis. But anyways, Danielle gets out of work at like 4:15 and she couldn't go. So I was like, listen, I'll take the massage. Like, you don't like massages anyway. So I asked my babysitter, I was like, can I go get the massage? And she was like, yeah. I was like, more thinking for the mom, but yeah, if you want it. I was like, well, she can't get there, but can she take the facial after? And she's like, oh yeah, definitely. So we planned that out. So she ends up not being able to go get the facial. I had never gotten a facial before. So I end up getting an 80-minute massage and 60-minute facial to end my Friday, which was pretty sweet for me. But I had a couple thoughts for the massage, and this is for you. Yes, and you're not a massage guy, right?
I love massages. I don't do them.
You love a massage?
I love massages.
Okay.
Yeah, I just don't do. I do them probably maybe once or twice a year. Like I wish I did them more often, but I just for some reason it just doesn't happen.
Gotcha. All right. So first question: are you getting completely naked when you go under the sheet?
I think I kind of feel out the situation as to, it's a game time call. I don't go into it with a predisposition of this is a boxers or no. But I'm down to my boxers. I will tell you that. Only one time have I not gotten down to my boxers, and that was like told me not to, and I basically had all my clothes on. It was a very fucking weird experience. I didn't feel very comfortable. That was one of my first massages that I got, and I was like, okay. I don't know about this, but I will say I don't have a hard and fast rule. Play it out, but almost always boxers is kind of an automatic.
Okay. Okay. Would it change the way you undressed if it was a man massaging you?
Never had a man massage me. This is getting into some Costanza territory.
This is getting to some Seinfeld Costanza territory. Yeah.
Yeah. Probably, I guess. I don't know.
Okay.
I haven't had this, so I will say, I do check the box of like if I have the option. Obviously, this wasn't you who set this up.
Right.
I do usually choose female if I have
Yeah.
the option.
Yeah. I mean, a former athlete, I've
Back to
had
the
plenty of
comfortability
like
factor.
physical therapists and trainers and whatnot that were guys that like massaged me. And so I really don't care. I would also prefer woman. Just, I don't know. It's just a preference. I
Not
don't
that
know.
there's anything wrong with that.
Not that there's anything wrong with it. Would it change if it was like a flamboyantly homosexual man?
No, I mean, I think in that scenario,
Mhm.
kind of whatever. If a guy's gonna massage me, a guy's gonna massage me. Like
Right.
it
Yeah.
is what it is. Like
You're not going to get a massage with Bob Kraft, right? You're going to get
yeah,
a massage.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly, yeah.
Okay. So this is more for the audience. I'm just interested to see like in the comments, if Alex makes a breakup video out of this. Straight guys out there, are you okay with another guy massaging you? Are you okay with a gay man massaging you? Because that was my experience and totally fine with it. So in this particular place, you like get changed and it's like super fancy. You get into a robe beforehand. So
Yeah.
in my head, I was just like, oh, like I'm one to not go with the boxers. So I was completely naked, right? And I'm underneath.
Yeah, by the way, just for the record, in that scenario, that was one of the last massages I had. Was like the weekend after my wedding. We like splurged for like a really nice, or I think someone gave us a gift card or something for
Okay.
it. Yeah, that's a no boxer situation when it's a really really nice place like
Right.
that where it's like they have the ambiance, they have like actually this is the most ghetto thing I did from that. Went to a really nice place and I liked the free sandals they gave me. I stole them on the way out. I had them like tucked in my pants and like I forgot we had to pay, and so I was like awkwardly shifting them so that they wouldn't notice them. Then we got in the elevator, I pulled up my shirt, and
this dates
my wife
back
was
to
proud.
stealing bowling shoes from Boston Bowl back in the day.
Yeah, this is the next level. This is the graduated course. This is the graduate course.
That's amazing. Do you still have those sandals?
I literally was just wearing them a minute ago.
That's great. So yeah, this was a super fancy place. But so at one point, as I'm getting the massage, like you're supposed to be covered the whole time, right? And he had asked me at the beginning, he was like, because I was telling him, I was like, oh, I typically have some tightness in my calves. He's like, oh, are you okay with like assisted stretching? I was like, yeah, that's fine. So he's like rearranging the sheets and whatnot. And like I have my eyes closed because it's a massage. And I'm like, I feel like I'm naked. I feel like I'm out there right now. Right.
Yeah.
But then the assisted massages, such that, but I'm like, oh no, there's like multiple sheets. So I'm like, all right, I think that one sheet's still over me. But at this point, I'm like I don't even want to know. So I'm not even gonna look.
Mm-hmm.
But then I get the like assisted hamstring stretch. You know what I mean? Like leg
I don't know
up.
if I know. I think like over their shoulder, I guess.
Yeah, and they're like massage.
Okay.
Like,
I've never had that done. I
stretching.
can picture it. Yeah.
And then I like feel it. I'm like, oh, now my penis is just out. It's just out. I'm just completely naked right now. And I was like, this is getting to a point that I'm starting to get uncomfortable. Not because I thought anything was going to happen. Just like I just don't want to be naked.
I mean, I think even
on
if it
the
was a
massage
female
table.
massaging you, this is
it's
at this point,
yeah,
right? Like
absolutely.
In general, that's so the one thing that I worry about is, and we've hit our time limit here, so this will end at the last minute here.
Oh, I got so much more. Okay.
We can circle back if we need to at the end of the podcast.
Okay.
But we've already got over our time limit. So, I was going to ask, do you ever fall asleep when you get a massage?
Yes, I have. So we have chair massages at work. So every week I get a chair massage, and it's like 15 minutes. But in those situations, typically because I see her every week, I talk to her.
I'm assuming you're completely naked in these situations.
Yeah, completely naked.
This is a no-brainer, obviously.
Yeah. No, but my girl Pam, sometimes when I'm like really tired, I'll just fall asleep. She does a really good job. But for the most part, I'm staying awake.
Yeah,
I feel like I need to make conversation.
Yeah, see, I try not. This is like me in the barber chair. I like my barber. My barber's real cool. Like I love that I can just text him and like he's He's been my barber now for like 3-4 years. This is just my beard. Obviously, we don't have to make a hair joke. We get it. But I like no conversation. Like, and I like that he kind of respects that. Like, we'll have some light conversation. And so same goes for my massages. I want as little to no conversation after the beginning of just like, is that too strong, too forceful, right amount? Other than that, I want no conversation. And yeah, I've only fallen asleep. I think 2 out of the last 3 times. This is the first time it's happened. I've fallen asleep, and it's good and bad. 1, it means it's that relaxing. But 2, I also feel like I didn't get the full experience because I'm just asleep the whole time. So
you don't even know if they still massage you.
Yeah, maybe so. To that point, maybe my penis was out. I don't know. I was asleep. So who knows? Who knows? I think this is a good place for us to pause.
I like a comment here from Elliot Wise though. He just commented unintended slippage. That's a great hashtag for that moment.
Hey, unintended slippage happens to the best of us. Happens to the best of us. As you guys can tell, if you're still with us here about 11 minutes into this podcast, it's the off season, and there's not a lot to talk about. Therefore, this is where we get to massage talk and hashtag unintended slippage. But we have compiled a few basketball thoughts that we did want to actually bring up on the show. So we're going to get into those right now. So the first thing that we wanted to talk about here, and Alex, if you can cue this up here in just a second here, NBA.com put out a list earlier this week of the top 10 players in the Eastern Conference for the upcoming season. So this is ruling out Jason Tatum, ruling out Tyrese Halliburton. The list, if you're watching us here on YouTube, which you guys should be, if you're not, go ahead, like, subscribe, smash that. You know how all that goes. Here's the top 10 list according to NBA.com. Number 1, Giannis Antetokounmpo. Number 2, Jaylen Brunson. Number 3, Donovan Mitchell. Number 4, Paolo Banchero. Number 5, Cade Cunningham. Number 6, Joel Embiid. Number 7, Evan Mobley. Number 8, Jaylen Brown. Number 9, Karl-Anthony Towns. Number 10, Trae Young. Greg, it's the offseason. We've got a list. We've got a Celtic that is ranked 8th, that has been all-NBA member just 2 seasons ago, has made 3 straight All-Star games. Let's start with Jaylen Brown. Do you think, looking at this list here, is Jaylen Brown too low?
I think he's too low. I think being below Mobley and Embiid, who's just never healthy, is just disrespectful. Like, Embiid's not even on my list just because he's never healthy. I think if you can pencil in Joel Embiid for 60 games this year where he's fully healthy, he's probably, top 2, just especially with Tatum being out. But you're just never going to see that out of Embiid. So I think you could make the argument Jaylen should be 6 here. Cade had a better season than Jaylen did last year, but going into last year, so many people were down on Cade Cunningham, right? Like, a lot of people were talking about him, like, is he ever going to make it as a number 1 guy? So I think it's too early to say one good year from Cade Cunningham supplants Jaylen Brown within this list, though I would agree that Cade had a better season than Jaylen last year.
Yeah, to start with the Embiid point, I think Embiid and by proxy the Sixers, when we start ranking the teams of the Eastern Conference at some point, inevitably this offseason or before the season starts, they kind of just need to be omitted, right? Like, because to your point, if he plays 60 games, yes, he's going to be number 2 on this list, especially without Tatum. He's number 2 on this list to Giannis. But, over the last 2 seasons, he hasn't played 60 games combined. So not looking good, going into this next season here for that to be the case. So he's kind of a wash where I just got to put Embiid over to the side and like its own bucket. I think Evan Mobley is the big name that I look at from a Jaylen Brown perspective and let me know if you agree with this, Greg. I think for a list like this, you have to look at it as like kind of 3 components to it. There's 1, the player, who they are today and what their skill set is. Mm-hmm. Number 2, this is asking who's going to be the top 10 players for the upcoming season. So there's a little bit of projection, not long-term projection, but a short-term projection through next year. And then number 3, I think you have to take into account recently in their careers, what have they done? Maybe not the full thing, right? If we're talking Steph Curry, we don't got to go back to, remember when Steph Curry did this in 2015? Like, okay, that's probably too far back to go, right? Mm-hmm. But in the last 2-3 seasons, like things that are really relevant to where they're going to be for this upcoming year and that make a projection reasonable. Like, I think all of those need to be taken into account. And when you do that, Giannis with a bullet, really easy, number 1. I think Jaylen Brunson's just too much of a killer. I'm totally cool with that. Donovan Mitchell, we've talked a lot about him and JB and Tatum. And I think, at least regular season wise, and even to be honest, in the postseason, I don't really look at him as the issue with the Cavs. Like, I have no problem with Donovan Mitchell at 3. And then I think it's the young kids and Jaylen Brown is where you kind of get into this ebb and flow of what have they done, who are they, and then where are they going. And when you look at Paolo, you look at Cade, you look at Mobley, who are all ahead of Jaylen Brown. For now, I think Mobley is, I'm with you, is the one guy I look at that I'm like, I don't know if you can put Mobley ahead of Jaylen Brown just yet. That offensive package, it's coming along. And I think eventually, does Mobley have a ceiling that puts him past Jaylen Brown on their current trajectories given their age? Probably. But for next season, I don't know that if Evan Mobley is the main guy, like Jaylen Brown's about to be the main guy, and we're going to see Jaylen Brown as the main guy for the first time. So that is going to answer a lot of questions that we've had to kind of put to the side. I just think Evan Mobley's a stretch too far. And then I think Paolo and Cade is interesting. I think it's probably correct that Paolo and Cade by the end of the season would be firmly above Jaylen Brown. I think you could make a case right now that going into the season that Jaylen should be above either both of them or one of them, but I'm actually pretty comfortable with him being just slightly below because those guys at such a young age have already carried that load of being the number one guy.
Yeah, I think counterpoint to that is this is Jaylen's first opportunity to be the number one guy, right? So I think this is probably the one season in which you could make the argument that Jaylen would probably jump them in this list just because we're finally getting to see it out of him. So that would kind of be my counterpoint to that. And I think the world of Paolo. I think the world of Cade. To say that they're already above Jaylen right now, I think is probably a little bit too far. I understand your three criteria and the projection nature of it, but going back a year, Jaylen Brown, Eastern Conference Finals MVP, NBA Finals MVP, like that has to be factored in as well. Mm-hmm. So I think if I were making this list, my list would go Giannis, Mitchell. I would go Mitchell 2 over Brunson. I'd have Brunson 3. Jaylen 4, Paolo, Cade, Cat, and then I'd go Siakam, Mobley, and Trey.
Yeah, Siakam being off this is interesting, and then Cat also being a little bit lower. So you go Cat over Mobley right now for the more all around offensive package. Yeah, I don't have too much of an issue with that. I think that's to me that's a pretty close one. Just depends. You're looking for defense, you're looking for offense. Both of those guys have a way that their game particularly leans. Mobley closer to a more well-rounded guy, but yeah, I think the Paolo, Cade, Jaylen discussion is pretty interesting because, like I said, yeah, this is Jaylen's first time getting to be the number one guy. And so let me ask you this. Let's look at, I would say between the Magic, Pistons, and Celtics, their rosters for this upcoming, if we're doing the small projection through the end of the season, the Magic, I think, easily have the best roster out of those three for next year, right? How do you view the Pistons roster versus the Celtics roster? I think leaning Pistons, but it's a lot of younger talent on the Pistons. So I think it might be a little closer than maybe we would give it credit for, but I'll let you
Let me look it up. Let me look it up because I don't have it memorized off the top. I know they're main guys, right?
Yeah, so just while you're looking it up, you're thinking Jaden Ivey's coming back, right? So Cade and Jaden is basically their backcourt with whether or not, Asar Thompson is going to be starting and or coming off the bench. They've got still Tobias Harris. They've got Jalen Duren there as well. They signed Duncan Robinson. They signed Karis LeVert. I feel Beef Stew in that front court as well. So I think definitely some more depth of true NBA
Ron
talent.
Holland. I like Ron Holland. They got Paul Reed. I mean, I think the Pistons rosters are way better.
Yeah,
it's not even close.
Yeah, as we're going through it, we talked last week. There's 6 real NBA guys as of right now on the Celtics roster, and we just named about 9 real NBA guys. Whether or not they're championship guys, that's a different question. But real NBA guys, it's probably like 9 to 6 or something to that effect.
I would make the argument though that the Celtics have 2 of the top 3. I think Derek White, Jaylen, and Cade are probably the 3 best on those 2 rosters.
Yeah, it's pretty. I mean, I think Jaden's too much of a question to even put him in there. I really like Jalen Duren, but I wouldn't put him over Derek White. Asar Thompson, ton of promise, but I don't think he's certainly not there yet. So yeah, that's where it kind of gets to like that, and this is why I think Pistons and Celtics are a lot closer of a conversation. Whereas Paolo, just clearly Franz, Bane are going to be, I think, make that roster a lot better. Suggs make that roster a lot better. There's not even a question that Paolo is going to have a better supporting cast. And so by the end of the season, how do you think the 3 of them as number 1 options will look? If you were going to project, well, as we're kind
of gut feeling, I just think the Celtics are gonna end up tanking towards the end of the year. That's just my gut.
Yeah.
So I think Jaylen's probably only gonna get a smaller sample size, and they're gonna shut him down. That would be my guess. I'm projecting, obviously. If the Celtics are deciding, you know what, we're gonna go for the playoffs, Tatum is trending towards coming back, I would put Jaylen above those two guys. I would pick Cade over Paolo because I think Paolo is going to have a little bit of a learning curve this year, just working in, with the other guys that they've added. And then, yeah, I just think the world of Cade, man. I think he's very special. He's got a mix of like Luka and Tatum is like the way that I describe his game. So I really like Cade. I think if I had to choose someone other than Jaylen, I'd put Cade above Jaylen.
Yeah.
And Paolo, yeah.
It's tough, man. I'm I'm a huge Paolo fan. I love Cade as well too. Like I think both. I mean, they're both number one picks. This is not breaking news that we're like, hey, have you guys heard that these two number one picks in the last 5 years are pretty good? Like, you know what I mean? Like it's not great analysis, but I do think big years for those guys to really kind of step to the forefront. And as I was looking at this list, Greg, it also made me think a little bit about Team USA, just because Paolo, Cade, Mobley, like that feels like a pretty heavy cornerstone, moving forward with Team USA. Obviously, Tatum, Jalen Brunson could be in the mix. Donovan Mitchell could be in the mix as other guys that we can talk about. But just that's really like I think the appeal to watching the Eastern Conference, because the Eastern Conference is really the Eastern Conference next year, like by far. But I think the appeal of watching Paolo, Cade, and a guy like Mobley, maybe even Jalen Johnson, who's another name that we didn't bring up, that if we're just projecting, I don't think he's done enough to be on this list. But I think if the Hawks are going to be real, he's going to be way closer to the number one option. He's going to be in a battle with Trae Young for who's the real number one option on that team, if they're actually going to make some noise the way people think. Like there's a good amount of young talent. It's just not, it hasn't come to the forefront yet. But I do think Eastern Conference has some promises, is what I think this list is telling me, basically.
Who's another guy out there in the East that you think could crack this top 10 by the end of the year, where everyone's like, ooh, man, didn't see that year coming out of that guy?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I just named Jalen Johnson. Like that's one guy, and I don't even say a lot of people don't see that coming, right? Like that's a lot of people are predicting that the Hawks are going to have a good year, and a lot of that hinges on him. Who else could really? I mean, a guy that's not on here that I think honestly I would take over Trae Young is Tyrese Maxey. Like that's like he's not coming out of nowhere, but I personally would take Tyrese Maxey over Trae Young. Admittedly, I'm a bit of a Trae Young hater, and I really like Tyrese Maxey. So that's someone that I would say should be on this list or could be on this list.
I'm gonna go. Can I give you mine?
Yeah, go for it.
A guy that I think people are too low on at this point, and I think he got overpaid coming into this year. Brandon Ingram. I've always liked Brandon Ingram. I don't know why so many people are so down.
Doesn't feel like a guy I would peg you as. It doesn't feel like someone that I think you would enjoy.
I just really like his skill set, man. I think he's an underrated pick and roll ball handler. Like he's got so much size. He can create his own shot whenever he wants. He was in a shit situation in New Orleans over the past few years. And, even when they made it, I was in the playing game a couple of years ago. I think they were playing who were they playing? I forget who they were playing, but he was going up against like a pretty good defense. And I remember being
Pelicans Thunder. I'm pretty sure is what you're thinking of.
Okay. Yeah. And I just thought he did like a much better job than people were viewing it as. I was like, I actually like what Ingram's doing. Like this Thunder defense is like a hell of a defense. And he's, running a pretty solid pick and roll. He's getting a shot whenever he wants. The defense, obviously, is, there's much to be desired there. But I think with him on that Raptors team, I think he's one of those guys that could rise to the top there, and everybody else could kind of fall in place around him, where he's the guy that the Raptors go to instead of Scotty Barnes. I feel like Scotty Barnes is the name that people would probably pick to be in this top 10 at the end of the season. But for me, I think I'd rather just go Ingram, and that might be crazy. But if I had to stick my neck out there for somebody, I would probably go him.
There's a longer Raptors conversation I've been kind of batting around in my head a little bit over the last week or two that I want to get our guy S on so we can really kind of dig into it, because I think the Raptors are kind of an interesting comparison for the Celtics. I think they fall into that, we went through last week, like where can the Celtics fall? 1 through 3, 4 through 6. I think the Raptors are in that 7 through 10, but could surprise some people because if you look at their top 6, they're kind of like the Celtics where they have 6 real NBA players, then they have a bunch of guys that like you hope are real NBA players, but their top 6, it doesn't make the most on
pretty good
sense. But the guys are all talented, right? Like it's all individually. Like I like them collectively together. I think it's a little janky, but the talent is no doubt. Like when you look at their top 6 versus Celtics top 6, if you just say talent, like it's the Raptors. Like the answer is the Raptors. But the fit is going to be a little bit interesting, and Brandon Ingram's a big part of that. So I think that's an interesting call. I did not see that coming from you. If anything, I mean, you were year 2 Giannis on the Scotty Barnes front early. So I thought, Scotty Barnes completely escaped my mind, which is, not a good sign for, I don't know if it's not a good sign for Scotty Barnes. It's probably a bad sign for me that I'm just not in NBA mode. I had to pull up the standings.
right.
Who would I miss
I would say other guys too, Will, that are out there. I think Barnes, Barrett, and Ingram could all be in this conversation. I think
RJ Barrett had a great year last year. That was underrated.
Yeah, he was great. I like your call on Maxey. He's a name that didn't pop to my mind, honestly. Maybe a Brandon Miller or LaMelo Ball year could be in there. Yeah. Maybe a Josh Giddey year. Tyler Hero, Bam Adebayo, a couple guys that maybe. I think Siakam should be on this list for sure. I did want to address
a big miss. I thought about him.
Yeah, I did want to address one question, and we already kind of touched on it from KB in the chat. He says, question, do or die game, you taking Brunson over Mitchell? Just curious. My answer is Mitchell. I think Mitchell's better than Brunson just because he can play a little bit more defense and you can't hunt him. And I think Clutch Gene is just as good.
Yeah, I mean, Mitchell definitely has made some big shots. Do or die game. It comes down to who else is around. If it's like who else is around Brunson. Like I think Mitchell's easier to build a team around, but I'm all in on Brunson at the end of the game. End of the game, even though I respect Donovan at the end of the game, I'm taking Brunson, no question. So if it's do or die situation, like end of game situation, my answer is Brunson. If I have to factor in it's a full game and I don't know who the other 4 players are around, I think Donovan Mitchell is the safer bet. Right. So I think that's kind of where it comes down to for me. But if I'm getting Brunson and I can put out 4 other guys that I don't think him being that I think I can overcome him being hunted a little bit, then I'm going Brunson because I think Brunson in a straight up just like last 2 minutes, 3 minutes of a game. I don't know if there's many people I'm taking over Jaylen Brunson other than maybe Tyrese Halliburton because he doesn't miss at the end of games.
Yeah, I think if you switched Brunson and Mitchell, though, if Mitchell was on this Knicks team, I think they would be the favorites in the East, no question. I just think like his ability, he's 6'2.5" with like long ass arms. They're pretty much the same height, but Mitchell just plays way bigger than Brunson does, and he's a much better defender. So I would go Mitchell. I think the world of Brunson. I've called him the best point guard in the Eastern Conference for 3 straight years. So I just think he's one step below Mitchell. I think it's Giannis, Mitchell, Brunson, 1, 2, 3 this year.
All right. Well, time will tell. And I think, we'll talk a lot about the Cavs and Knicks. Those are the 2 best or the 2 favorites going into the season by far. So we'll talk a lot about them as we get to the season. Now, getting to the season, will Anthony Simons get to the season as a Boston Celtic? That's where we're going to go next here, as there was a rumored trade that came away here. And correct me if I'm reading this off of Yahoo Sports, but it looks like it might have come from a place called Fadeaway World or Bleacher Report. It's a little bit confusing where it actually came from. It's on Bleacher Report originally? Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah. Shout out to Bleacher Report. They have thrown us a couple checks over the years, so give them some love. Here's the proposed trade for Anthony Simons that came out. It's a 3-team trade: Celtics, Jazz, and Miami Heat. If you're listening to us or watching, on YouTube, you'll see it on your screen here. Boston Celtics receive Walker Kessler and a $27.7 million trade exception. The Utah Jazz receive Terry Rozier, Jaime Jaquez, Neemias Queta, 2026 protected first rounder via the Celtics, 2026 second rounder via the Celtics, 2029 protected first round swap via the Heat, $5.5 million straight cash homie from the Celtics, and a $4.9 million trade exception will be created. And the Miami Heat receive Anthony Simons, John Tonje, don't know if I'm saying that right, don't know who he is, we won't talk about him again, and a $3.9 million trade exception via Jaime Jaquez. Greg, pretty interesting trade here. I still haven't fully settled on whether I like it, don't like it, or maybe even if I love it. Where do you fall on it?
From a Celtics perspective, I mean, you get your center somewhat of the future, but you have to pay him, right? The whole issue with Kessler is that he's like extension eligible and then he's going to be restricted free agent, right? So I don't know if he's the guy that I want to commit to long term as the, future centerpiece of the Celtics front court. That would be my issue with it. He's a great defender, but he's a drop defender. He's not going to be someone that's switching out on the perimeter. There's another rumor out there of Simons for Claxton, and I think Claxton is more of the type of defender that I would like to see on the Celtics. I've always liked Claxton's defense. His offense is dog shit, but I think Kessler's offense is dog shit too. So these like one-dimensional big men out there, I don't necessarily know that I want to be giving up on somebody that has like as much promise as Anthony Simons in this scenario. And I just don't think the Heat do this deal, man. Like I would say Anthony Simons is just Tyler Hero with a different hue, no?
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing is like, but also, and Terry Rozier is caught up in whatever this gambling story is as well, too, right? Is if you have Terry Rozier and you have Tyler Hero and you have Norm Powell, you're kind of doing the same thing, right? So this is like Anthony Simons, Terry Rozier, Tyler Hero, like, Terry Rozier's been a massive disappointment. When he was at his best, he's somewhat in this category of these guys. Probably a tick. He's definitely a tick below Tyler Hero and probably even a tick below Anthony Simons, but it's not a massive valley between them when he's at his best, but who knows what the hell's going on there. So yeah, it feels like you're just like, I don't think Terry Rozier is going to play because he's going to get suspended for this gambling thing. So let me just bring in Anthony Simons. And we're kind of in the same place. Maybe we're a tick better offensively, but we're still all the same gaps and issues that we have. It's still all kind of the same, just with somebody that's going to be a live body that's going to play, and they're basically giving up Jaime Jaquez to make that happen. So it depends.
Well, apparently they need to trade because he slept with Spoelstra's ex-wife.
Oh, maybe I did hear that rumor. Yeah, that's a spicy rumor. Could there be a more like Miami rumor than something like that, right? Like that's just like perfect Miami. But from the Celtics perspective, Greg, so you brought up a key point here because I started thinking about the Nick Claxton, rumored trades as well too. And God, I hate this, but the more that I keep thinking about how the Celtics can set up, because everything Brad Stevens is doing right now is just restructuring the cap, right? Restructuring this roster so that he can get to the ability to be able to maneuver this team so that he can set it up for success when Jason Tatum comes back. And whatever you do with this Anthony Simons $27 million slot is kind of key to bridging what comes next, right? Because they're still right at the second apron. They're still right around the tax. So there's still money that needs to be saved in some capacity. And so whatever that looks like, the Celtics really have about somewhere in the range of $20 million to kind of solve the main issues on this team, which lie in the front court. And I don't know that Walker Kessler or Nick Claxton is the answer, right? Like, I don't feel great about those guys being the answer to the equation. Like, right. I think this is the hardest part about how they solve this. And this is what scares me, that regardless of what happens this season, that we're inching closer and closer to I'm just going to say a Jaylen Brown trade, because that $54 million he's getting per year, if you can turn that into a $30 million and a $20 million player, like, it just gives you more flexibility and more options. And when you got two guys that are making 55, 56 million, it just limits your options the way that this is set up. I know the cap is going to go up a little bit each year, so that will help, but I just think it's going to be really tough, and you have to be really specific of if you're bringing in Walker Kessler, who needs the extension, or Nick Claxton, who's going to make $19 million, like, is that the guy that you think, okay, Tatum's back, that guy's on our team, we're championship contenders? And I don't think either of those guys really quite do that to make up for what this team needs.
I don't really know who the young or like in their prime big man is that the Celtics could go out and get, though. Like there's not
I don't either. It's a tough question. It's a hard. This is why Brad Stevens gets paid a lot of money.
There's a lot of like younger guys like Claxton and Kessler who could project into being something, but in terms of that like ready-made piece to just plug in there like Porzingis was 2 years ago. I don't really know who that is. I'm gonna have to give some more thought to that. I know Pirtle was a guy that was rumored for a couple of years, but he just signed that deal with the Raptors. It seems like the Raptors want to keep him in Toronto. So I don't really know who else would be out there.
It might not even necessarily be a young guy, right? Like it might be a new
Like the
Kristaps
Hartenstein
Porzingis version. You know what
Hartenstein
I'm saying?
types. Yeah.
Yeah, the Hartenstein type, or somebody that's coming off of a down year that you're betting on a bounce back because of their ceiling, right? And you pair
Right.
that with not Al Horford, but someone you can get from a mid level that's still really effective.
That's why Gafford was a guy that was interesting. Even Gafford, though, I wouldn't say that he's
Right.
like the
That's
center of the future.
it's tough, right? Solving this front court problem in the next year is going to be really, really difficult for Brad Stevens. There's not a lot of answers that you can go get to go. And the thing is, like, you had 3 guys, and like, there's real reasons why you couldn't keep them, but having KP, Al, and Luke, like, God damn, we are gonna miss those days. We are gonna
And
miss.
I just want Al to
days.
come back. I want Al to come back so
Well,
bad.
well, this is the thing. This is so. Our buddy Liptak was giving us shit, rightfully so, at one point when we were like, the Celtics might still have a chance next year, and this was like around NBA Finals timeline where nothing had happened yet as far as trades and moves, and we were like, maybe if we pull this off, it could happen. And now we're like, there's no fucking chance. Like, there's no chance. But in that timeline in that space where we were trying to give ourselves an opportunity, it was maybe we find a way to bring Al and Luke back, right? And then you think about, like, in the world's best scenario, which I think now, looking at this roster, Tatum, just sit out. Don't even try to come back. I don't care if you were healthy enough, just don't come back. But if Al and Luke are there and you're kind of steadying the time, you're like, all right, we're like a 5 seed, and then Tatum can get a month and a half back to get in. You're like, okay, like Luke and Al, you wouldn't say that's the best front court in the world, but that
was our front court last year.
That's what I'm saying. Like that, like you won a championship with that, basically. Like that's something you can like hang your hat on, even though it's not gonna be Jokic or Giannis or even Miles Turner or whatever, Chet Holmgren. It's not gonna be those guys, but you can win with that if you have the rest of that team. Like if you put Tatum on this roster as it is today, because he's just a $54 million slot that's not playing, and you just add Walker Kessler or Nick Claxton instead of Al, Luke, and KP, or even just Al and Luke, let's take KP out of it, just Al and Luke versus Claxton, or Al and Luke versus Kessler, that's not enough.
Yeah. We're in the like Tony Batty, Mark Blunt era right now of 2025. It's like it's
Luka Garza is our Andrew DeClerc.
Yeah, it's not great. It's not great. But I mean, there's not a lot of great big men out there. There's a lot of like good role player big men out there, but in terms of like big men that are in the top 30 players in the league.
And so I think that's actually the question, Greg, is like, do you pay Walker Kessler, Nick Claxton $20 million, or do you try and find 2 guys at $10 million, right? To give yourself
kind of go with the Mavs model.
Yeah, exactly. Like how and like who those guys are, I really don't know. Like you're gonna have to figure it out. Like some people like the move of I don't know enough about Jay Huff, who the Pacers picked up. Like he's certainly not enough by himself. But if you have let's just bring Luke Cornett back. Let's say it's Jay Huff and Luke Cornett. Like are you feeling better about 2 options versus just having Walker Kessler and Nick Claxton, who are going to be kind of short on one end of the ball anyways, and they're not going to lift you enough on the defensive side to really justify having them at that price point?
I think it all has to do with the who you have to go through, right? If the Thunder are the team that everyone has to go through, and Chet continues to project to be a top 30 guy in the league. I don't know what you do with the Thunder, because then they have everything. But if Chet ends up being just like an average big man, I think you have to look at that team as more of a small ball team, and somebody that you don't want to pay a lot of money for big men, because when it really matters and chips are on the table, you're probably not going to have a big man out there, and that probably makes more sense to go with the route that you just suggested.
Yeah, so we'll see. But I think that's ultimately the big question with that Simons contract, is that's going to tell us a lot. That's slot, not necessarily Simons himself. Maybe he will. I think Simons could be fun to watch this year if he's going to be on the Celtics. But I think that slot and how they try to fill that around Derek White, Jaylen Brown, Tatum coming back, Peyton Pritchard, like that's going to be what determines who the Celtics will be when they get back to contention. So we'll see what happens. Brad Stevens got more work to do this summer for this podcast. We've got some work to do, and we're going to bring in producer Alex Gonzalez here as we've got some trivia here to round out this episode. Alex, the producer of the podcast, what do you got for us today?
All right. My trivia for today is who can you name the 10 active players with multiple rings in the NBA? It's only 10
active of this. Okay.
10 active.
So let's start with the easy ones. Let's start with the easy ones. LeBron, Steph, Clay, Draymond.
Yep.
Right.
That's 4.
That's 4.
KD, 5.
Yep, that's 5.
KD is 5.
I've got 2 that I think are going to be ones that might stump some people. I don't know if you want me to save those, or should I just throw them out there right now?
Throw them out there.
All right. Let's go with recent champion Alex Caruso.
Yep, that's one of them.
And then let's go with recently traded Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, KCP.
Yep, that's another one.
Drew Holiday.
3 left. Yep, 2 left.
7. Drew Holiday at 8. All right, we're cooking here. So we've got 2 more guys out there. The Pascal Siakam almost joined this group. Game 7 loss. Not gonna get it done for him. Let's think around. So on the Thunder, all they had was
Kevon Looney.
Yep.
You just got to think Warriors. Kevon Looney. Yeah,
that's true. Is there anyone else from the Warriors that would have been on all of those runs? Because I know. Like I'm thinking back, I remember some of this coming up around the time of the finals, and it's like, Holiday and KCP and Caruso are like some of the few guys that have 2 rings in the last 5-6 years, but on 2 separate teams, right?
Right. I got the answer, Will.
You do. All right, let's hear it.
Kawhi Leonard.
Yep, that is the answer. And that is 10 for 10.
All right, can you list those 10 again?
We have LeBron, KD, Curry, Drew Holiday, Kawhi Leonard, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, KCP, Looney, and then Caruso.
Let's go. Easy money.
All right. Let's go. Good
easy.
work. Work from the crew here. Hey. Don't demean our excellence over here.
Yeah, it was good.
Like, we went
Caruso was the one that got added this year. There was only 9 before the finals.
So I remember the stat coming up, and that's where Caruso and KCP, because then KCP got traded like a week after the finals. So it was like back to back 2 of the guys that you might not expect. And like I said, the 2 of them plus Drew Holiday, everyone else, I'm pretty sure on that list, other than Kawhi, because there was such a gap between his rings, all got their rings in the same place, right? Mostly Golden State. But they were the 3 guys that were. And that's why everyone's looking for those players, right? That's why there is such a demand for all 3 of those guys. High-end defensive talent with guys that can shoot the basketball, at least in KCP's case. He could before last season. We'll see if he can find it again with the Grizzlies. But, like, that's the reason that those guys are in such demand, and, why Brad Stevens was able to, we just talked about Ambry Towns, why he was able to move him. Don't know what the Blazers were doing, but they did get a 2-time champion in Drew Holiday for their troubles. All right. Well, I think that's going to do it for this episode of Green with Envy.
Wait.
We got to finish the story.
We got to finish.
Unless we wanted to return to unintended slippage. If you have more, we have a couple minutes here for you to get back into your unintended slippage.
Well, I just want to get Alex's quick thoughts.
On what? Massages?
Yeah.
I've only ever gotten 1 massage, and it was in Aruba. I had like shoulder tendonitis from weightlifting. So I wanted to get that work done. And the lady just completely did not do that and just started going ham on my back. And I was so sore the next day from this massage. And I didn't really like it. But I mean, it was whatever. It was fine. My opinion on massages, they're fine. I went boxers for this one because I had never done it before. So.
That's fair. First time I also went boxers. You're not really sure what to expect. I think the first time I got mine was actually international as well. I was in Brazil studying abroad, and we did like some type of excursion where this became part of it. Like there was like a spa at the place we were staying, and I don't know, can't remember the details, but saying I was probably around the same age as you, Alex, where I was like, I had heard about massages. I didn't know about massages. I was like, I didn't know what to expect. I was, I can't lie. Back in my mind, I'm like, so we're happy ending's like a real thing. Like that was in the back of my mind as like a 21, 22-year-old, like getting a massage. It's like, do I ask? Do they do it? Do I want it? I don't think I want it. I don't know what I want. Like, it was a very confusing time. So that was definitely a boxer on. And if they tell me on the table, off the table, whatever they tell me, I'm doing it immediately, and then I'm getting the hell out of there because I was very uncomfortable the first time I got a massage. But I would say give it another try. Massages, when done right, are fantastic.
Yeah, the first massage I ever got, I was actually in high school, and I was a football player, so I was just like always just in so much pain on the weekends. And there was one particular game that we played where I just got my ass kicked because I played both sides of the ball.
One particular game,
just like physically got my ass kicked. We got our ass kicked in every game on the scoreboard.
Alex, our high school football team was not very good.
Yeah, I didn't start playing football until high school, Alex, and I was the captain of the team. Like it wasn't good. But I remember I was like, like I think I need a massage. My mom was like, okay, I'll schedule a massage with somebody. And then she sat in the room the whole time. My mom was like in the room to make sure there was like no weird, funny business with this masseuse and Quincy. But yeah, that was my first massage. Okay, so I left off talking about the massage. I didn't get to talk about the facial aspect of it. So
never had a facial, so I actually don't know much about this.
This was my first one as well. So I didn't really know what to expect going in there. She starts by asking me about my skincare routine, and I'm like, I don't know. I wash my face, the
splashing water count.
Well, yeah, like put water on my face. Danielle has me like put lotion on my face, but she was like, oh, you wear sunblock every day, right?
Before you go on, can I ask a question? Because Alex, I know you have a girlfriend as well too. Like, do most women expect that men have a face case? My wife is also like appalled that I don't really have like a routine for my face. Like, I basically in the shower use some soap and water, splash some water at night. Occasionally, like if I feel like I'm like breaking out with some pimples, I have like some from high school. I used to use these like oxy pads. I still use them. I still use like a version of that every once in a while. That's it. That's all I do. And she's always mortified that like when I'm like time to go to bed, brush my teeth, floss my teeth, throw some water in my face, and I'm in bed in, I don't know, what is it, 6 minutes, 5 minutes? Like it's a very quick routine. Are your guys women as appalled, or do they also think, I don't know if this is like a thing all women think that men should have actually a face care routine?
Well, Alex doesn't live with his girlfriend, right? Lily is her name.
Mm-hmm.
Right. No, so like maybe it's a little bit different for Alex, but for me, growing up, I was very similar to you, Will, where I use those like oxypad wipes or whatever, like religion. I would probably use them like 5 times a day. And when I told Danielle that, she was like, that is so bad for your skin. Like those things are not designed for that at all. But that's just like what I utilize. Apparently it dries your skin out like really bad. Go ahead.
Can I give you a counterpoint to that? So my wife loves gadgets and apps and all this stuff. And she had one for a while where it was like you scan the either ingredients or the barcode or whatever, and it will analyze everything. And it's like, this is 80% good. This is like a 20% bad. And it'll tell you like all the reasons why. Tell you what, scan the oxypads I had. Those things came back like 85% good.
Let's go.
So I don't know if it was just the version that I had or whatever. So if you want a little ammo next time, just throw that out there. I'll find the name of that app for you so you can you can use that and cite your sources.
So Alex, so what do you hear from Lily?
I know she has a whole skincare routine, and I don't really have one. And she doesn't crucify me, but sometimes she gets a little bit upset, like how is my face like so clean and I don't even have a skincare routine.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's more of like a
thing too.
Yeah, like a jealousy. Like I have to do all this for my skin, and then you just put soap on when you take a shower, and then you're completely fine.
Yeah, I think like the fluctuation of women's hormones causes them to like break out a lot more and have like more issues with their skin. Because I was talking with the esthetician as she was like doing the facial, and she was like, "Oh, your skin's amazing. Like I'm very surprised you don't have like a skincare routine, but you're a guy, so guys have nice skin." And I was like, okay, I guess this is a thing that women are jealous of. But when I was getting the facial, these are just some thoughts that were going through my head. So I did acting in the past, and I've had to like sit in a makeup chair. So it was very similar to that, where your eyes are closed, people are like touching your face or whatever. And she was putting these whatever they were over my eyes. And then she would like shine like a bright light on me. So there are many times where when she would take the thing off my eyes, I felt like I was opening my eyes because there was more light coming through, but my eyes were still closed the whole time. It was really freaking me out. I was like, am my eyes open or what? I couldn't really tell. Then I was thinking, because I was so still the entire time, I was like, I feel like I'd make a really good corpse on like a TV show. I feel like I could play a really good corpse. I was like really still. I was working on like holding
CSI
my breath.
Miami. Greg got caught in the bedroom with Eric Spoelstra's wife. Brandon Ingram came in, or not Brandon Ingram. Jaime Jaquez comes in.
Yeah, but there was at one point where I was like, I'm just gonna see if I can completely like stop my breathing, like slow my heart rate down, stop my breathing. So if I ever get cast as a corpse on a CSI type show, that they're gonna be like, oh, this guy has some practice. Another thing that they did was blackhead extraction. So you know how sometimes you get those little like blackheads around your nose, and my babysitter had texted me and she was like, oh, that stuff is awesome, but it really hurts. So I was expecting it to be really painful. And as the woman was doing it, I was like, oh yeah, this is like some pretty significant pressure on my nose, but it didn't hurt, which made me think, if a woman who have higher pain tolerances than men in general, right? If she thought that was painful and I didn't think it was painful, maybe I'd actually be okay getting a tattoo, because I don't have any tattoos. And I hear tattoos for some people are like the most painful thing. And for other people, like it's not that much. But the blackhead extraction experience has me thinking I should probably get a tattoo.
Was the blackhead extraction thing? Is it like, because I don't know what happens. Is this in my head? I'm thinking it's like a strip, and then it's almost like a waxing type motion. Is that the case or not?
It felt like very pressurized. So it felt like she was like sticking, I don't know, like tweezers or something into my nose, pulling out the blackhead and then like removing it. And when I asked her after, I was like, oh, my friend told me that this was really painful. And she was like, I was worried that you were going to be in pain because I was actually going like way more aggressively, because there were a couple that were pretty deep in there that I wanted to get. I was like, oh no, it didn't really hurt. And then the last thing I was thinking about, because I hadn't eaten really that day. And as I was going through like the almost meditative process of getting a massage and then getting the facial, I was wondering if I should start a fast, if I should just fast for a couple days and just like not eat anything and just drink water, because I felt like I was very zen in that moment. And I also thought I could probably be blind if I was still getting light coming through my eyes. Like if it was like pitch dark, I don't think I could do it. But if I was like one of those blind people that could still like sense shadows and whatnot, I feel like I could last.
So not like Stevie Wonder blind, but like real blind.
Or maybe Stevie Wonder blind.
Maybe Stevie Wonder blind. Also, a lot of thoughts. How long was this facial? This has been a journey through like 4 different thoughts, like 4 different like pretty in-depth thoughts that you had during this. And I don't know how long a facial takes.
It was like 60 minutes, and I was trying to just like be meditative and just focus on my breath, like breathe in, breathe out. And then my mind was just going everywhere. There, I had so many more thoughts, but none of them are really worth mentioning on the pod.
Well, end of the day, here's what Alex and I need to know. Do you recommend?
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's probably the last thing. So I love massages. I love a good pedicure. Like I like when people are just like pampering me. So love a massage, love a pedicure. I've never gotten a manicure.
Boy.
Yeah, and I love the facial. So Danielle and I were like, oh, maybe we should do a couple spa day and like go get, because we've gotten pedicures together before. And she was like, yeah, maybe we should go get facials, like quarterly facials. I'm cool. I'd do it. Recommend. Guys out there, recommend.
All right, Alex, do you have any other thoughts on Greg's mind dump he just put on us?
No, it's interesting to see the way your brain was working throughout that facial. You thought you could be blind, and then you thought about fasting, and you're being all zen. It's pretty cool.
And everybody out there, this is Billy. This is my dog, Billy. She's a little gremlin. She just came up to say hi, so I figured I'd show her off, you know. Will, did you follow the noodle story from Austin Eater?
No clue what you're talking about.
Okay. We don't have to talk about it on the pod. Look it up. Ask Lorena about it. I'm sure she'll know about it. But it was this guy who runs a really popular Instagram account in Austin lost his dog, and like the whole city came together to find this person's dog. And he actually, Noodles kind of looks like Billy. That's why I thought about it.
Oh, shit. All right. Well, I will look that up, as should the audience here, as that's going to do it for this episode here of Green with Envy. We went all over the place in this one, fellas, but it was a fun time. Hopefully, those of you listening, if you made it all the way through 55 minutes here, hopefully you guys have enjoyed the journey as well. As always, like, subscribe, follow, give us 5 stars on Spotify, Apple, wherever it is you listen to us. Make sure you're following us on all of our socials. Our guy Alex here is churning out the goods on YouTube, on IG, on TikTok. That's right. On TikTok, IG, and YouTube, you can find shorts, clips, everything you need to know from these episodes and more. So as news is breaking, we got you covered as well here. Hopefully you guys enjoy the rest of your week here. The summer's continuing on. It's the dog days of August here. So we'll continue to try to put together some episodes here for you weekly. And then as we start to ramp up into September and October, we will also start to ramp back up more shows. But that'll do it for this one here. For Alex, for Greg, Will, as always, appreciate you guys joining us here on Green with Envy. And we will catch you later. Peace.